Crackman.
God.
I'm Commander Shepard, and the Unnamed Games podcast is my favorite podcast on the Citadel. Shepard out.
Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to episode 38 of the Unnamed Games podcast. And it is a live episode, as we've been doing a few live streams recently over the past few days. You know, we're in that kind of gamers' Christmas time of year that is E3 and the surrounding. So we did a couple of videos recently. I don't know if anyone saw them. We did one around Dying Light, which was myself and Alan. And then we also did one around Horizon Forbidden West. So they are available to watch again on YouTube. So feel free to go back and have a little watch. We had a bit of fun doing it. A few people joined in, had some comments from people watching, which was good.
The one with me in is particularly awesome. I definitely recommend that one.
I have to say, Alan, that was my favourite. I'm not just saying that because you're here and Phil's not. It was definitely my favourite.
I can totally understand why. Yeah.
So you can see them, you can hear them. This week I have my two lads with me. We have Mr. Rats to Tweets. How are you, Ratley?
Oh, you know, up and down, left and right, side to side. It's all good.
Bit all over the place then, yeah?
Yeah, you know, just living life.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. And Mr. Longfangs one, Mr. Alan Howlett. How are you, mate?
I've had a good week. I'm not going to lie. It's been a good week, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about that as we move on. But just before we move on, how come I'm always on the bottom? How come I'm always on the bottom of this screen? I'm starting to feel like I'm not important enough to be up there with you, Craig.
No. How it is you're so important you have to have that bit of space at the bottom all to yourself.
Good.
You see?
Dad diplomacy right there, wasn't it?
Well done, sir. Well done.
Skirting around that one.
I feel all warm and fuzzy inside now. Job well done.
Great stuff. Cool. Right. Well, before we get on with the show this week, we'll do the usual and find out what people have been up to. And since he made that comment, we're going to go to Alan first because he is very, very important and we want to know what you've been up to.
A very special boy.
Very special boy. Well, I mean, I'm not going to talk about the biggest thing, which I did mention at the Dying Light 2 sort of video that we did. But first of all, I'll go through my usual routine. So what I watched. This week, I watched something that I've been eyeing up on Netflix for a long, long time. And I'm so glad I finally got around to watching it. And that is Love, Death and Robots. And it is a 2-series animated anthology series. And it started, I think it's in 2019, second series in 2020 or something like that. I think that's right, 221. There's 18 episodes in the first series and not quite so many in the second, only 8. But they're like little animated shorts. And I think the shortest one is like 6 minutes. And the longest one is, I think it's like 17 and a half minutes. There is some cracking stories in there. I'm so glad I watched that. I mean, you know, not all of them hit the mark for me, but I would say probably about 90% of them. I was just like, oh my God, that was awesome. And if it wasn't awesome, it was at least entertaining to watch. Some of the absolutely fantastic, amazing animation. Couldn't recommend it enough. The other thing I've been watching is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Disney Plus. Just finally started watching it, catching up with the series. Yeah, I'm almost at the end of series 1. It's all right. You know, it's a bit of fun. You know, I mean, you know all the character. Well, you know the main character, Agent Coulson. You know, and because of course from the movies, and you know the world and everything else. It does feel a little bit like Buffy the Vampire Slayer does superheroes, if I'm being honest. You know, but it's not offensive. It's just not. It's not like, you know, you watch like offensive.
It gets offensive. It really.
Offensively bad or offensively good?
It starts great. I really liked the first 2 seasons of it, and then it hit season 3, and for me, it just like took a massive nosedive. Like the first season is superb. I've got to say, the first season is really good. So if you're in that, Alan, you're going to enjoy that whole season. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm about 3 episodes off the end of it, and it's definitely been enjoyable. I don't think it's got the same punch as say, perhaps sitting down and watching Avengers, you know, Endgame or Infinity War or something like that. It's much on a much smaller scale, but you know, it's been enjoyable, and it's not like I watch each episode going, "No, that's a load of rubbish." It's very enjoyable.
Before we go any further, I have just noticed that Ryan, my son, has popped a little message in this ad. So say hello. Hi, Ryan.
Sup, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Please continue.
Big shout out there to Ryan. Bruh. Today, bruh, word up, bruh.
We're far too old and white to be doing that. Seriously,
I am so cool for the 1980s. Right. Anyway, yeah, he's probably bloody idiots. Anyway, moving on before I embarrass myself even more. Today, myself and my wife, we actually made the big step of leaving the house. Achievement unlocked. Yes, as a couple, we went to the cinema, which is the first thing we've done since the lockdown started at the beginning of last year, February. And we went and watched Godzilla versus Kong.
Next topic.
You know what? I'll tell you what, I want to be nice. The fight scene at the end between the big monsters is fantastic. But I just want to point one thing out, right? And I know that I know the reason before you correct me on this, right? But when the film starts off, it says contains themes of moderate fantasy violence. This film has more deaths in it than John Wick, The Matrix, and Sparta 300 combined. Thousands of people die in throwaway scenes, in boats, in skyscrapers, being stomped on by giant creatures, and nobody cares. As these
doesn't count if you can't see it.
Massacred. There's even one scene, right, where the boat gets turned over 2 or 3 times, right? And then Kong is being dragged down, and I'm not going to spoil it too much, but then he gets back up and he goes to climb back up on the ship because he's righted it because he's Kong and he's trying to help everybody. And he puts his hand up and some random guy runs away from it. And both me and my wife were like, what was he doing outside? He just turned over 4 times. Where did that guy come from? And that is the level of believability of this film. For myself,
maybe it was Aquaman.
A terrible film. What I'm going could have been, but then he wouldn't have needed a boat, would he? But I'm going to move to Hollywood because it appears that the most useless, incompetent, can't come up with a single original idea that makes any sense. Idiot nincompoops can get a job writing movies because they clearly hired them for this film and probably paid them a shed load of money. It is ridiculous to the extreme where you're just sat there going, really? At one point, Godzilla, with his laser beam breath, fires a hole through the entirety of the planet Earth.
I don't see.
And it's just ridiculous. I know we're talking about giant monsters here, okay? But there is like a level here. I mean, it's like they forget how big the planet Earth is. It's like, oh no, it's okay. He'll just fire his laser and he'll shoot a hole right through the planet.
I think you forget how big King Kong is, my good man, and Godzilla for that matter.
That is something I wanted to bring up because that's one of my. Everything else aside, the bad writing and everything else, it is still a fun, enjoyable film if you want something with absolutely makes no sense. But the thing that annoyed me the most out of the entire film was the fact that they simply can't make their mind up how big they want them to be. 1 minute Kong is sitting down, and a little girl walks up and he put his hand out like that and touch her, and the next minute he's a skyscraper tall. The next minute he can stand on top of an aircraft carrier, and the next minute he just fluctuates in size depending on the situation. He's either quite big or freaking enormous, and it's like it's complete nonsense.
I believe, Alan, my review of this was don't watch it, it's garbage, and you went and paid money at the cinema to go watch it.
I'm not going to lie, and Ellie's probably going to listen to this, so I'm going to get in trouble, but it was a choice between this or Spiral.
So it was a choice between bad or bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to watch Spiral. I like the Saw films. They're all right, and this has got Chris Rock in it. It might be all right. It probably isn't, but it might be. But I figured
ever so well.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, that's another point entirely. But I figured at least I'll see some big monsters hitting the crap out of each other. And I did see that. Yes, even if the rest of the film, including everything, as I agree with you, Chris, with Millie Bobby Brown is absolutely complete tosh. Absolutely. The biggest thing this week, aside from Godzilla's ass, has to have been the fact that I got my new PC rig. And I know. And that's kind of the noise I made when it turned up, and the guy was a little startled, if I'm honest. I'd like to say that I've downloaded every amazing game that is available to the consumer and tested it to its full potential. But the reality is the first thing I downloaded was Magic the Gathering Arena, which I already have on my mobile phone, and then transferred all my data across. The second thing I downloaded was Terraria, which we know, as we well know, I've been playing on the Xbox for about the past 5 years.
And that's something that's really going to make advantage of that 30 series graphics card, mate. Yeah.
Those trees, they move on the PC version. They don't move on the Xbox One. So the upgrade was just phenomenal. And then the third game I downloaded was Ark. And I have to admit, I have to be honest here, when I did put all of the settings up to ultra, the fans did start to work quite a bit. I did give it a little bit of a workout. But the games that I did download and I played a little bit of, but not a huge amount yet, which I want to test on, are Total War, Warhammer 2 version. I love Warhammer. So, and I played that. That really does give my graphics card a workout. And it's a 3070. 3070. So 3070.
You're still pretty beasty, mate.
It's a beastie, but Total War really makes it work for its money. And then what else do we have? Starcraft 2, which is actually free on Battle.net, so I didn't have to pay any money for that, which was nice. So I started to learn that because I wanted to play. I know it's an old game, but I love RTSs, and I've wanted to play it ever since StarCraft 1 came out, and I've not had a PC to play it on or a laptop. So I finally have the equipment to play it, so I'm blooming doing it. And then EVE Online, which I'm hoping I can talk Craig at some point into jumping on with me, because it's very big and it's a very scary universe, and I need somebody who's at least a little bit clever to join me.
We can try.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So,
hold on, a little bit clever. You're talking about different Craig.
No, I'm talking about you, Craig. I'm complimenting you.
Thanks.
Hopefully it's going to work and get you to play along with me so that I'm not out in the black on my own.
Good stuff. Cool. Well, thanks for that, mate. Nice one. I'm sure we can have a little go on Eve. I've never played it before. It sounds scary, but we can try it.
It really is.
Yeah. Mr. Ratty Ratster. How are you, mate? Right. And what you been up to? Right. You've had a week off, haven't you, mate?
I had a week off, yeah. So I've done a few things. Obviously, Mass Effect's been high on the list of things I've been doing. Slowly working my way through Mass Effect. Well, I haven't been rushing it. I've just been kind of enjoying it. Plus, playing it on Insanity, it's not been a rushable option necessarily. A couple of frustrating moments here and there with some bugs and stuff, but I'm still really enjoying it. Like, the story is just like there is a point towards the end of Mass Effect 1 where I just got a big grin on my face. I was like, this is so awesome, like so awesome. I love this game. And then like Mass Effect 2 has like already dragged me back in. I'm just like, I just love this environment, these places, these people, and it's just some really good writing, really good characters. I'm really enjoying being back on the Normandy and fighting my way through those Geth Wars. I just actually picked up Grunt, so at the minute he's still in his status tube. No spoilers, I won't say anything more than that for anyone who hasn't played it. But I've been enjoying Mass Effect. I know Alan talked about this last week. I watched Army of the Dead on Netflix. And I was of a similar opinion to Alan. I don't have the level of vitriol Alan had for it. My experience was far more.
The same, Chris.
Yeah, far more frustration from me than hate. Like when Alan said there was nothing new in it, I'd probably disagree with that. It's like Snyder does his best to introduce loads of stuff. There's these robot zombies in it, and there's other things. Like, these aren't massive spoilers, by the way. They're so inconsequential to what actually happens in the film, and that's the biggest problem. It's like he introduces all this stuff, and then goes, "But forget about that, because none of it matters anyway. Because who cares?" Like, and there's this one like sort of subplot that's introduced, which, if it's a thing, is like, whoa, but it's like it's there for all of 5 seconds and then not addressed again. Just like, so hold on, is that a thing we should be? And it's an incredibly frustrating movie that all the best bits of things that it introduces, it just kind of like puts to the side and goes, well, I'll let you make your mind up about those. It's like, just for once, tell me a story which tells me the things that you introduce, that moves point A to point B to C, Don't introduce something to go, oh, it's a little bit of a tease. There might be something about this. And then just not address it anymore. It's so frustrating. So I got really, really frustrated with this lack of anything happening of any value, to things that look really interesting. And then I think some of the stuff, the ending is just
I still haven't watched it yet myself. I do need to do it.
Yeah, you do watch it. It's I don't think it's as bad as Alan says, but equally I can't understand why people are going, oh my god, it's great, I love Army of the Dead. I'm like, look, I'm a Zack Snyder fan. I really wanted to love this movie, and the reality is, it's just kind of all right, but it just doesn't go anywhere in any real volume, and
I think they're gonna put that on the DVD box. It's kind of all right.
Kind of all right.
Well, what's sort of annoying already is like, and what I think has happened. I don't not make an excuse for it, but Netflix have already filmed the prequel. There's a animated series coming, and apparently that answers lots of the questions about certain things that happen. And it's like, so wait, did you just plot out a mini cinematic universe and then just make a film which doesn't answer any questions just so you've got an excuse to answer them in other media and get people to watch that? Because that's just rubbish if that's what you did. Like, that sucks. Like, make the thing a complete unit, move it on, and then it enhance that with external media. Like I've always said, like, one of the things I love about the Gears of War novels is they take what's already there and expand it in a meaningful and powerful way that the characters become more full and more interesting, because Gears does as a storytelling, like with Marcus in particular, does the least amount of storytelling for him really in the games. Like, most of the storytelling is about Dom and his relationship with Dom, and then in the books, if you read the books, you find out all this backstory of Marcus Phoenix, and you just feel for Marcus Phoenix, man, after you read those books.
Sorry, Chris, I was just thinking a few years ago I had a relationship with Dom, but it was a different type of Dom altogether. Please carry on.
Is your kid still watching this, Craig?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So anyway, moving on. So I was frustrated with it, really, really frustrated, and it's a shame. I will say this: I thought the cast were great. They actually carry the movie completely. And Alan made a point about some of the characters, like some of the characters just absolutely are the highlight. Like like Alan said, the safecracker guy, he's brilliant in it. And I've seen like bits and pieces talking about him, and he's the focus of the prequel movie, and that makes me more excited to see that because he's the focus of it. So like really, really that things. And there's a couple of good relationships, like Alan was saying, him and there's one of the mercenary guys. But there's some really dumb writing in it as well, which is standard fare for the course with zombie movies, really, isn't it? There's always something dumb has to happen for zombies to be enabled to do zombie things. Yeah. But yeah, it's a frustrating film. Anyway, I also went up. I have a bit of a thing for bad movies. Now, we've talked, in our chat, I said I'm watching this movie, and you guys are going, I'll tell you what, I found an unwatchably bad movie. Like, genuinely, because Amazon Prime is full of just absolute rubbish.
Is it M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening?
Oh, mate, it's worse than M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening. I
didn't know that was possible.
Which is a terrible movie. I remember sitting through the whole thing going, something's going to happen soon. Something will happen soon. No, nothing's going to happen soon.
That film falls off a cliff after about 15 minutes. 15 minutes of it, you're going, this is awesome. What's happening? Wow. And then it just goes, this is the plot of it. And then it's them running away from pollen. Brilliant.
There's a bit somewhere in the middle where they go to that house with that old woman in it. And that gets a bit creepy for like 10 minutes. And then it just, nope. It's like that goes nowhere and just bottoms off again. You're just like...
Attack of the Killer Pollen again.
It's like, cool, that was... and then...
Sorry, mate, I derailed you there.
It's fine, mate, it's fine. I could any chance to bash M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening, mate, I'm down for that, because that movie is awful. And I'm the guy who'll defend The Village. I quite like The Village, but yeah, seriously, no, that The Happening was just like, what? Anyway, back on point. I watched a movie, which is... I think it's trying to be a parody of Zombieland, which is kind of a parody of zombie movies in of itself.
Right.
And it's just awful. It's called Stripperland. Yes, you heard that right. And it is just bad.
Children are watching, Chris. Children are watching.
It's not X-rated or anything. It's not X-rated or anything. It's just bad. And there was a point where literally I was watching it and I only got about 20 minutes in and I was like, is that one of the Baldwin brothers? Daniel Baldwin is in it as a rapper for like a 5-minute cameo. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm done with this film. Like that was it. I was like, no, I can't. And I say rapper. What I really mean is he's a guy standing there in like urban streetwear with a mic saying words into it in somewhat rhythmically fashion. And it's just like, please make this stop. Oh, I have the power. Click. Done. Moving on. But I actually only got about 20 minutes in and I just couldn't bear it anymore. I was like, this is beyond dreadful, beyond awful. So yeah, Chris's recommendation there is don't touch that film. Not that you're likely to, but even if you thought, I fancy a bad movie, that is beyond bad. That is unwatchable. Like, seriously. Like, at least The Happening, for all of its sins, I could watch it and didn't go, well, this hasn't been shot poorly. The acting was good, but the plot was terrible. You know, at least it felt like the people who made it knew what they were doing. This felt the complete opposite of everything. The script was written by an idiot, you know, and it's just, yeah. I mean, not that The Happening script wasn't written by an idiot. It quite obviously was written by an idiot who decided Killer Pollen was going to be an interesting plot point, you know.
That film makes me want to cry. It was that bad.
Horrible. It's horrible, that film.
It makes you want to do what they do in the film.
Yeah, just jump. That's actually what was happening. They were all watching that film. It was that meta, that film. They were watching people just jumping on buildings and jumping in front of buses.
They were even closer. They read the script.
Yeah.
That was the catalyst.
He's making it. Get jump off the building. It's like this film will exist. We can't deal with the world.
Oh, quality.
But it's amazing how he redeemed himself with the Glass trilogy. Like, not because obviously Unbreakable was before that, but mate, I love those films.
Really?
Unbreakable, I love.
Unbreakable is a brilliant film. Split is a brilliant film. Glass was trash.
I love Glass, man.
Awful film. Glass. Absolute waste of potential of that series.
It's not what I expected, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was so disappointed with that film.
I can see why you might think that about Glass. I totally get that point of view on it. I think it's quite a divisive movie. For me, it was kind of, I was enjoying it and I thought it was cool. And then the ending came along and really like slapped it out of the park for me. I was like, yep, that's exactly what I want to happen at the end there. Love that. That was great. I'm talking the very end. You know what I mean? It's like at last, like, yeah, that's cool. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, enjoyed it. So yeah, and I'm sure there was something else I've been doing, like probably watching some Netflix stuff, but you know, like everything, I get bogged down all the things I've been watching and forget things that I've been doing.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, what have I been up to? I've not, to be honest, really had any time to play any games this week at all. I've dipped into Mass Effect and done like a tiny little bit here and there. I reckon I've maybe played it for a total for about an hour and a half over the whole week. So it's been, wow. I've just had loads on, really, absolutely loads on. I have managed to watch a little bit of TV. I've been really getting into an oldie, and I know I bring up these oldies and people are like, I can't believe you've never watched that before. But I think I've said to you guys before, Enterprise, which, you know, Star Trek from 2004. You know, when that first came out, I tried to watch it, and I really think the more that I watch it, and the more that I am so thankful for Netflix's skip intro button. The reason I never got into that was the theme tune. It's been a long road, getting from there to here. It's terrible. It's terrible for anything, let alone a Star Trek. I mean, the intro itself is really good, and if it had Star Trek-y music to it, it would be great. But they've just put this absolute drivel country soft rock over the top of it. It's awful. And terrible, absolutely terrible. And I think if they didn't have that intro in it, that would still be going now, maybe that season, that series, because it's really good. Yeah, so I'm nearly at the end of season 1, and I'm really enjoying it because it's that kind of, it's all sort of really back to basics. You know, the ship is like they're in like a submarine, or they're like in an old battleship or something like that. They don't have the shields, you know, like they're polarizing the hull, and you know, it's like it's just totally different, really. You know, Alan's frozen.
Listening to the Enterprise theme.
He's trying to put me off. That's right. I've muted him anyway, so it's all right. Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, it's one of those ones that as a Trekker, I had never watched like beyond the second series, because when it was on terrestrial TV, I believe Sky bought it up and it disappeared off of like BBC Two and went on Sky, and we didn't have Sky, so I never got around to watching it. So I only watched it myself like last year, and I've been meaning to do it for years and years and years. So I was in the same boat you're in now.
Yeah.
I have to say that I really thought, and again, we greatly differ on the theme song. I understand this, and we've had already discussions. I can see what they were trying to do. If you bear in mind at the time and place it was, when you'd already had the Next Generation, followed by DS9, followed by Voyager, all with very similar theme tunes. Yeah, the same orchestral bit with a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I can understand.
I've got it, boys. Let's make the theme tune really bad. That'll be different. Yeah, good idea.
To do something different, and they were trying to say this is the beginning of the Federation, and this is the beginning of everything.
When music was bad, and
just let it lie, Lara. Let it lie. Anyway,
no,
but as
it's
far
awful.
as the series, I'm clearly outnumbered here. But the series itself is fantastic, and a lot of people say it doesn't get any good until the third series. I disagree. I think
I'm really enjoying it.
Season 1 and 2, as far as the episodic things that happen every week, but with this underlying storyline of basically the Vulcans being complete arses, which I absolutely loved. I loved it as well, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
I think for me, Enterprise was a show which I enjoyed all the way through, but it just takes a significant step up at Series 3. Whereas, if you look at Next Generation Series 1 is going back and watching it now. Next Gen 1 Series 1 is kind of rubbish, and then Season 2 gets a bit better. And then Season 3 it really finds its feet and starts going.
And by 4, it's awesome.
Once we get that stride, it's
Voyager was a bit quicker, as was DS9, but they
Voyager's premise, I think, lent into it better as well. Voyager's whole premise was just a better thing for that. It got back to that Monster of the Week thing that Star Trek was always very good at. And I love DS9 though, but DS9 took ages to figure out where it was going as well. But again, when it hits its flow, DS9.
I was reading about DS9, and the reason that those first seasons were very Monster of the Weekish was the original showrunners who were very, very insistent that was what it was going to be. It was going to be back to basics, Monster of the Week, yada yada yada. Then when they backed away from it, and we had the writer who came on board, that's it. Yeah, when he came on, that's when they brought in that whole kind of it was the Dominion War, wasn't it? And brought so good.
More Babylon 5 overarching storyline rather than an episodic one. It was an overarching story. So,
I think I love that because that crew as well were really ripe for that. You know, them being fixed in one place. You know, Cisco was great for that character arc as well. I thought he was really good. I like the whole thing, great. You know, and I really loved that for like the Dominion War onwards. And I'll never forget that first time they meet the Jem'Hadar in the Delta Quadrant, and it's like, and that Galaxy class ship, which of course at the time we were like. Yeah, Galaxy class.
Annihilated it.
Bam, done. And it's just like, what the hell?
DS9 has my favourite Star Trek quote in it from Gowron. Yeah, Gowron, the Chancellor of the Klingons. We do not forgive or forget.
Damn fine impression.
Quality. I've been watching Enterprise. I like it. It's good. I'm going to keep watching it. What else have we been doing? Yes, this morning I sat down with the boys and we watched the first episode of The Bad Batch. Have you boys watched that yet?
I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I'm about 3 or 4 episodes in now. Loving it.
Was it when I was off? Might be when I was off, actually.
Might have been.
Yeah, so we just watched the first episode, which is nice because it's an hour long, isn't it, that first episode? Thought it was really, really good. Really, really liked it. I don't want to spoil anything in there because there's a couple of little twists and turns in it and a few characters from other parts that... exactly. That are, well, you know, I was like, is that? It is that! Been really, really good. And other than that, I've just been like on my lunch breaks and stuff. You know, I like to have a little something to watch. I've been rewatching a bit of The American Office because you can't go wrong with that. And I'm going to mention he's not here at the moment. I don't even know if I mentioned the other week or not. But my wife said when we were watching it, she looked at Dwight and she goes, "Oh, Dwight really reminds me of Phil," which I found absolutely hilarious. She's like, "Oh, don't tell him. I don't mean it. No."
Don't tell him. You've only announced it to the whole 100+ subscribers that we have and Phil.
Which is a nice little segue onto that little announcement. I would say we have broke 100 subscribers, which is quality. I think we're up to 104 subscribers now.
109 I saw earlier.
109 is it? Blimey! I've just had a bit of a spike then, which is fantastic. So really pleased. Thanks for subscribing. It makes such a difference. It really makes us feel good, and Well, it makes us question your sanity, listen to us ramble on like this, but thanks for doing it anyway.
It's all right. It's the draw of me. It's fine.
Yeah.
We can all acknowledge that.
Fair play, Alan. Yeah, I subscribe for Alan content, no question.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay, right. So, time to move into the news for this week. So, I'm going to hand you straight over to Mr. Ratley with the first piece of news. Take it away, Chris.
Oh, now I'm going to have to get my bit of news up and figure out what I'm supposed to be saying now. You've caught me.
See, I've caught him right off guard because I didn't
fast segue in.
I didn't dip in. I didn't dip in with a segue, because quite often when we've got games comes in ones, they come in twos, they also come in threes, like we've got here. Much like our next game is the third in a season of a fantastic looter shooter. Take it away, Chris.
Well, you see what it really is you're just showing all 109 of our subscribers exactly the level of professionalism they can expect from our content in the future. It's that we just kind of show up and do things, and it happens. So I just checked my notes, and basically, it's not really. Well, it is about Borderlands 3, but it's more about something that's like along with Borderlands 3. So Borderlands 3 has had a patch. Hooray! We all say,
hey!
Hooray! And this
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, mate, I've put so much stock in this patch, having the 0 hours invested in Borderlands 3 that I have. But this is news nonetheless. I'm not saying Borderlands is bad game. I'm being facetious now. So
we don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Borderlands 3 had a patch, and it's a great patch because it enables crossplay. So the PC community can play with the Xbox community can play with the PC community, and then everyone can not play with the PlayStation community because Sony, yes, that's right, Sony made them take crossplay out for the PlayStation. You just, for the players, guys. For the players. That's right. Yeah, because what players don't want is more people to play with. That's exactly what they don't want. Oh, wait. Yeah, so basically, Sony have done what we found out from Epic versus Apple is that Sony have this, sort of clause in the contract that if you enable crossplay, you've got to pay them. You've got to pay them. I'm guessing that, basically Gearbox went, nah, we ain't paying you, and we want to enable crossplay. And so Sony made them take crossplay out for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's got to that point now where this is literally anti-consumer. Don't care what anyone says. Sony need to sort it out. Like, do you remember a few years back when Microsoft announced some pretty poor customer-facing policies with DRM and stuff, and everybody raked them over the coals for it? It's amazing how we don't seem to be seeing that at the minute. I think someone really needs to get hold of this.
It was probably because it was the PlayStation boys who rolled us over the coals. But they're not likely to do themselves.
Yeah. But they should be doing it, mate, because it's affecting them more than anyone else, right? And it's stupid. It's like, come on, guys. Like, I know and I see this from PlayStation people all the time. And I get it. You've got the best exclusives in the business, right? I get it. But that's only so much time you can play the best exclusives for. And then when the multiplayer comes along, what happens if your mates buy Xboxes or your mates have moved to PC, and then they want to play Borderlands with you and you can't because you're the only guy on PlayStation? Or what happens if your mates stop playing Borderlands but you're really enjoying it and you can't find matches? But it'd be easier if you got crossplay. Come on, like this is now a point where it's going to affect players on that service negatively, and Sony need to sort it out. This isn't what players want. This isn't what the business, the industry is moving towards. The industry is moving towards crossplay being a thing. For all its plus points and minuses, that's the way it's going, and Sony need to get on board with this. They're being, let's call it, they're being crap at the minute, and it's disappointing. So Randy Pitchford put them on blast. Good on him. I'm really pleased that I'm not a Randy Pitchford fan. If you're a viewer or listener for the podcast from way back when we talked about Gearbox and Aliens, Colonial Marines, you might know I have a little bit of a.
Here we go. Rabbit hole.
I'm not going to spiral. I'm not going to spiral. Because we don't need that rant right now. Yeah. But if I say, as someone who really doesn't like the man, good on him. Good on him for this, because that is what needs to happen. More people need to stand up to Sony and their absolute anti-consumer BS and get this fixed. Totally.
That's the thing. I mean, you've just had, Sony have just did a financial statement, didn't they? And forecasts for coming years and stuff. And by all accounts, they're doing absolutely fantastically. They're actually absolutely killing it. They're delivering fantastic high quality exclusives. They're shifting a large number of consoles. They've got a great future ahead of them. Obviously Sony is hugely invested because this is the biggest part of their business now, the PlayStation. But we've seen this before where console manufacturers can end up resting on their laurels too much and taking too many liberties of their consumers, and it turns around and bites them in the arse. Because Microsoft have totally done it. Like, seriously, really kind of, they kind of rose, they fell, and they're kind of re-rising again now, but they had that big dip. But all it takes is, yes, PlayStation is a huge market, and there is a large proportion of that market that isn't going to be classified in the hardcore gamer, the kind of people like us who are, so interested in every part of the business and are quite vocal about our opinions with stuff. So yes, it will just be, the people who pick up a PlayStation just to play FIFA and Call of Duty once a year, those kind of people. But there is a huge vocal minority on both platforms, and they're the people who can make a huge difference. They're the people who influence loads of people around them. They influence social media. And if they start turning on Sony, and I've seen this with a few real quite sort of famous influencers who are very Sony-centric, starting to turn around and go, well, this ain't on. They're dipping their toe into sort of going, come on, this is not good. But it won't take too long if they keep going down this road for them to really turn on them. And it will really, really hurt them financially. And with Microsoft snapping at the heels of the way they're doing, yes, I know they've not done as many consoles. That's a whole separate subject. But what they're doing in terms of their business model, give it another few years and it's really going to start closing that gap down. And Sony have really, really got to be careful, in my opinion. Definitely.
Well, I mean, it plays right into Microsoft's hand as well. I can't see why Sony can't see this, because Microsoft are building this Xbox PC ecosystem, and if you cross-play all that, those players are just going to become more of a tight-knit community, and it's just going to ostracize all the PlayStation players. And surely, you don't want to be just the guys on their own, the PlayStation guys, because when Microsoft have Xbox and PC, they'll start to become the dominant force in the market when they start talking about, we want it to run on these two platforms, it's cross-development kits, etc. And Sony will find themselves the guys who are suddenly going, hold on, we're not the dominant force now? I mean, this is all pie in the sky stuff. It might not happen. But I think Sony have really got to look at the way they do things now. And if they, I said it a couple of weeks back, if they say for the players, act for the players, don't just use it as a nice strap line to make yourself look good.
Empty gesture.
Somebody else does something bad. Yeah, it's got to be real. You live that life, That's the one thing I'm really impressed with Microsoft at the minute is they're delivering on what they say they're going to deliver. They're not just kind of wishy-washy, making sort of random slogans up to make it make themselves look good. They're doing something to make themselves look good.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So I think sort of moving on to the next thing really. Another bit of news is about Microsoft Flight Sim actually. So there's been a bit of a patch come out recently, quite good if people with nice graphics cards like yourself, Alan, want to try it out. Chris, did you want to go through the information on that one? Yeah,
I mean, it's a pretty small bit of information, really, but it's quite clever. So Microsoft have effectively reduced the install size by like nearly 50% on Flight Sim, and they've managed to limit the streaming data required for Flight Sim whilst not losing any fidelity or quality. And so, they've kind of worked some strange voodoo and made everything work better with less information, or work as well with less information. It's like, the article I read doesn't really have a huge amount of technical, because Microsoft at one point they were like, if you're using this thing, it might crash on desk. We're not quite sure why. We think it's this. We just disable that. So there's some stuff which Microsoft haven't quite figured out. But Microsoft are like, we're doing this. They don't go into depth on how they've done it. But I'm guessing that a lot of this is also to get it ready for going towards Series X.
Yeah.
Because the install space was massive. And obviously for a lot of Series X users, that would have been a significant chunk of our onboard thing. Plus, you don't want to be having to stream all of those assets all the time from things, etc. So I think they've, by the sounds of things, done a lot of really, really clever stuff. It's made the game more accessible to people who've got limited space or limited bandwidths, etc. I think it's going to be, it's just amazing the way this technology is progressing. And I know there's some stuff later on about like Unreal, and you combine like this kind of thing with this kind of thing and this kind of thing. Next gen, when we really get to that next gen thing, is looking pretty awesome. But so basically Microsoft have worked voodoo. Is basically the article. They've managed to shrink the install space of Flight Sim by 50% and reduce its reliance on streaming assets for things like the real world weather, which also that really boggles my mind. The fact that game will give you real world flight positions, real world weather, real it's like that
time of day, everything.
Yeah, mate, that game is like
Well, I mean, we're talking next gen. To be honest, I think that is the first next gen game that we've seen.
It's the closest thing we've got so far, I think. Yeah.
I mean, just what they're doing, the scale of it. It's incredible.
What the big thing is,
I think
it pulls data from Google Maps, doesn't it?
Bing Maps, I think.
Bing Maps, yeah.
Probably, yeah. Just as a stab in the dark.
Yeah, they probably pull back data from Google Maps, don't they?
Yeah, probably, yeah. But yeah, Alan, I think that's certainly one that would be worth giving a go on your new 30 series card, because I put that on my PC, which is significantly less powerful than yours, and it is an absolutely stunning technical achievement.
I've been meaning to put it on mine because I've got the 20 series. I think it'd be really cool on that. I think on Alan's PC, it would be, mind-blowingly good. Yeah, I need to do that.
Sorry, you talking to me? I was playing a game of Magic the Gathering.
I love the way techie stuff.
I did wonder if he was listening then.
Yeah, Alan's going to totally phase now when techie stuff comes out and just play games, isn't he? This is going to.
I was joking. I was actually watching. I was sitting there thinking, is it a game though? At what point does it become? It's called a flight sim. I think calling it a game is really underrating it, because it is a credible achievement. And then they've just gone and done, as you said, voodoo black magic. They've just we'll make it half the install size, but it runs even better. Ooh.
I mean that is crazy. just saying that is bonkers, right? It's like you can imagine the guy going to the Microsoft office, going, guys, so I've got it half install size and it runs better.
Yeah.
We roll the patch out and someone's going, what did you just say?
Going into work tomorrow not tomorrow because it's Sunday, but going into work on Monday saying, yeah, boss, I can do twice the amount of work, but it'll only take me half the week.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. So, but I've seen it on the Microsoft Store, and if I wasn't so busy downloading games I already have, I would have downloaded it already. So it's on my to-do list, most definitely. I will update you when I know more, but I can't wait to crash my plane into every known landmark that we know in England.
Yeah, and not intentionally, I'd imagine as well.
My flying skills have never been that great, so I'm predicting what's the inevitable outcome. To be fair,
quality stuff. Yeah, it is definitely impressive. What they can do with this hardware these days. And I think, one of the companies that have never really been about hardware and kind of pushing technology forward has always been Nintendo. But there's been a bit of a rumbling, hasn't there, Alan, around Nintendo?
Well, this is a funny one because this rumor mill has kind of been going on for like the last couple of years.
We know you love talking about a rumor, Alan.
I do. No, I haven't got quite the same level of sarcasm on this particular report that I have previously, I have to be honest. There's actual news in here, Craig. It's because of a recent Bloomberg article, and they've never led me wrong before. But apparently, so I've told from my sources in the industry, there might be a new Switch Pro announcement happening very soon. And there's a lot of information that actually gives credence to this rumor. And it's been, as I said, it's been floating around for the last couple of years, but there is actually some weight to this. Apparently, Nintendo are supposed to be starting production on this new version of the Switch inside the next couple of months, with a potential release date of September of this year. And there's a good reason why people are actually predicting these dates, because there are.
I'll put the comment up on the screen.
For the listeners, Ryan, Craig's son has just put, you're in trouble. Mum knows about your Phil Dwight comment revelation.
I think he's dobbed me in.
You're in trouble, mate. You're in trouble. Anyway, so basically, there are some companies that have been who are affiliated with or are producing goods for this apparently new console, this upgraded Switch, such as the company that's producing apparently the OLED screen that it is purported to be having, a 7-inch OLED screen. And they are patents, and there's information that these companies are bringing out this new technology, or this technology that's been adapted, and it all kind of ties into this rumor mill that this new Pro edition of the Switch is coming out very, very soon. It's got some nice figures on it, and not being the technical sort, just having got my new rig, I can see how more beasty and how much more roided this Pro Switch is going to be. Apparently, it's going to have none of this is confirmed, so this is all kind of rumor mill and pinch of salt.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, this is it. 8 gigabytes of RAM, double the amount we already have in the Switch at the moment, which is only 4. I can do double, just for you people who are not so good at maths out there. 4.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Alan. I was struggling.
It's all right. Thanks. It's no problem, Chris. It's a service I'm happy to provide. Don't hurt yourself, Craig. You still got the pod to finish.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then we have the onboard storage, which purportedly is going to be 128 gigs, which is a massive jump from the 32, which is in essence how it works now. I'm playing the current game, but I'll have to uninstall that when I want to play my next current game because there's simply not enough room for 2 solid games. But the big one, I think, other than the 7-inch OLED display, is the 4K resolution output. And this is part of the whole technology thing with the docking stand, and I think they put in patents for the changes and things like that, which is leading them to believe that there's going to be output to the TVs in 4K from the Pro. So there's using apparently NVIDIA's DLS 2.0 technology. So apparently you'll be able to offer the native.
Oh, he's frozen up again. Hopefully he'll be back in a second for your audio and video listeners. Oh, he's back. Here he is. Sorry,
my internet's absolutely awful tonight. I don't know what's going on.
All right.
The wife must be watching porn downstairs. But native 1440p resolution, upscale to 4K through NVIDIA's DLS technology. So that's some pretty snazzy. Got you this week, Chris. Thank you very much. That's my one a week. And if the last bit of information I have for you is backwards compatibility is almost guaranteed. But there will be some new titles that will only be available to play on this new Pro version, which stands to reason. If you're going to pay out all this money to have this much bestier roided up Switch, you want to have some games that are going to utilize all of that technology. So that's going to mean some titles that are dedicated to it. So a lot of it, again, none of this is absolutely confirmed, but what the insiders are actually saying is that there's going to be an announcement very soon, possibly within the next 2 weeks, and there's a very good reason for this, and that's because a lot of the allied partners, the developers who are creating titles for this console, they want to make announcements during E3. And they can't do that if the console hasn't been announced. Yeah. So this is why it's all kind of ramping up now. And Bloomberg are kind of saying, well, this is going to happen now. We're going to get some solid concrete announcements, some solid news. And, I'm very excited. I love my Switch. I really, really do. I'm not playing it quite as much at the moment. I have a new big toy, but it is a fantastic piece of kit. And the price they're kind of guessing, but they're kind of saying probably going to come out around $250-$299, which is a very snappy price point. Again,
it's cheaper than the Switch was when that came out.
Exactly. So when you're talking about
that sounds cheap.
Well, I mean, really if you look at, but they're putting it up against the Series S. So if they, let's be honest, they're putting it more expensive than that, they're going to price themselves out of the market. So that sounds like a good solid point.
I don't know. I
don't see it as a competitor to the S.
No. I don't think.
Animal, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you can say Nintendo these days is kind of a competitor to anything else on the market, in my opinion. Just because they've got their own niche and they've got their own kind of customer base, and it's all about their exclusive titles that they put out. They put these incredible exclusives out. But I mean, I get what you're saying if they're trying to drop the price down. But
at the same time, if I'm a parent that's going to go out and I'm going to buy a console for somebody, I'm going to look at 2 alternatives here. I'm going to buy a Switch or I'm going to buy a Series S because I can't buy both, and they want a games console. So if the Switch is at a very agreeable price in comparison to the S, and it's portable, I'm going to go for the Switch.
You make an excellent point there. Yeah.
It almost makes me think the way that you're kind of talking there, because like having 4K output, that potentially the docking station itself may have some technology in it. Rather than just being effectively a port to put it out to HDMI.
I think that's the really,
the current one, because the current one works, that the chipset works in a low power mode till you dock it, and then it ups the power, which gives you a higher resolution output, doesn't it? And higher frame rate.
But I'm saying, potentially, because, outputting 4K resolution to a little, even if it is an OLED screen, it's just overkill, isn't it? And it's to a smaller screen. But I see, if they can do that to up it when they have the same clarity of graphics using.
Well, I guess
chips,
what Alan was saying about
DLSS,
if they're using DLSS, it only needs to output in like 1080p, 720p, and then DLSS does the magic to put it to 4K or near 4K.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Having the GPU almost within the docking station to perform the DLSS, maybe.
I mean, yeah, but if you've seen Nvidia's new mobile chipsets or low power chipsets, they run DLSS. So
okay,
the
right.
Switch itself could well run it. It's honestly, it's that new Nvidia stuff is crazy, and I was like reading it going, like because they're leveraging that DLSS to make that. Yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of the stuff that Alan's read about this, and I think that new Switch sounds amazing. I'm not sure I'll jump onto it immediately, but like if that's a real thing, that's going to be be just really good.
I mean, the last thing I wanted to say...
Go on, mate. You were going to say?
No, the last thing I was going to say is that, obviously the Nintendo, who are renowned for coming up with new and unique names, I don't know about you guys, but my prediction for the name of this new one is the Super Switch Pro Roided Edition. If you've got anything better, then just
I think Nintendo are definitely going to want to promote drug abuse with their next console. Fantastic, yeah.
I can't see them doing this. I was just saying, the one thing I really hope more than anything if they do a new Switch is one thing: they fix the Joy-Cons and the sticks, because the sticks is the only part of the Switch which is just substandard. Like those joysticks, those analog sticks are bad, and there's no real excuse for it, especially the price Nintendo charge for those Joy-Cons. There is no reason they should be that poor.
Yeah,
it's just a shame that Nintendo don't take a little bit more.
It's also very disappointing over this length of time they've done nothing to remedy that situation.
Yes, 100%.
That's poor customer service.
That's always been my gripe about the Switch. I love the Switch. My Switch is great, but the thing that stops me playing my Switch more is the fact that the experience as a handheld is phenomenal, bar the rubbish sticks. And that's the only complaint I ever have about my Switch. I love my Switch. It's a brilliant console.
Yeah.
Brilliant console.
Yeah, I've not played it as much as I'd like to. I know Josh has got a Switch, and I've had a little go a few times, but obviously that's his console. So, but I would like to have a good go on Zelda, to be honest, and really get into that. But yeah, kind of carrying on the rumour train. There has been a rumour. There's been a rumour of a possible Halo Infinite beta coming up, and potentially ways to sign up. So, just for this information, I'll just read out here. So, before Microsoft launches Halo Infinite, there may be a beta period, according to comments from the developers, and apparently it's easy to sign up. So, once basically you just need to sign up as a Halo Insider, and once you're all signed up for that, it's basically they're saying it's based on specific goals they'll require when they're. So I guess it might be people on certain platforms, people with certain internet connections or something, like who knows, certain regions. But I think it's just a case of making sure you're up to date with stuff to hopefully get into that beta. Now, usually when there's a Halo launch, they usually have a beta, don't they? And it's usually a multiplayer beta. So I think it's a pretty high chance of that. Are you boys going to jump in and get yourself signed up in the Halo Insider?
I'm not that worried. I'm sure you're already signed up, aren't you, Craig?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
I was like, Craig, why did you ask? Like, that was a foregone conclusion.
He's probably signed himself up. He signed up Ryan and Josh just as backups as well. Use their profile just in case.
Good idea.
He's about to. Yeah, I'd say now he is. Yeah.
But myself personally, I'm not actually that worried. I'll wait until it comes out. I've never really been one to jump onto those betas, so I'm not that worried.
I think I'm with Alan on this one, and I'm not excited for Halo. Let's just be very clear. I've always been more invested in Halo for the campaign, like the story of the Chief, Cortana, all that. Like, I enjoyed the multiplayer, but it's never been my big drive going to it. Like Halo 1 was the only multiplayer I ever really got hard stuck into, and that's just from the back in the day when you had the system link nights. You get everyone together and play that, or when way back. Yeah, Blood Gulch, or Hang 'em High. Yeah. Hang 'em High was always a favourite. There was a few nights, a few nights I remember with that. But like, it used to be something we used to like way back in the day. When Xbox was in its infancy and Halo was there, Project Gotham. We quite often, like, me and some friends would get together for watching the wrestling pay-per-view events. The WWE live late at night, and they would stream at like 2 a.m. or something silly, right? So we'd entertain ourselves up to that point by playing either Project Gotham or Halo multiplayer, and obviously split screen Halo multiplayer. And there was like so many good memories from that. I'm I'm excited for Halo Infinite, but I'm more excited because I want to find out what's happening with Cortana and the Chief.
Oh yeah,
and all that stuff. It's that cliffhanger was too painful last time. So yeah, I'm super invested in that story.
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying that I'm excited. You know, I mean, I think I was one of the very few people who are still happy with the trailer that we're watching right now, which is nice. But I was like, it looks awesome. But everyone's like, it doesn't look very good. But
yeah, I mean, I get the graphical complaints about it. It wasn't as slick as I'd have liked. But the thing I said about this trailer more than anything else was, I said this immediately made me think and feel of like old school Halo 1, Halo 2 gameplay wise. And I was like, and that's what I want, is to go back to Combat Evolved gameplay and away from this COD gameplay that it had been trying to emulate in like Halo 4 and 5. So I was blown away by the fact that this was the Halo game I'd been waiting for. Yeah, there were some technical issues, but this was the Halo game I wanted to play from the gameplay point of view. And Alan makes this point constantly, and that's what's the most important thing is, does it play well? It can look as pretty as like Halo 5 looks. I mean, it just drips gorgeous.
Oh,
it's
stunning.
Such a pretty game. And it's probably my least favorite of the Halos because it's just kind of, as a game, it's just okay. It's passable. And that pains me. That pains me to say that. But like, it's true. Like, you know, I'd rather play Halo 3 than play Halo 5, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
me 100%. And Phil and Alan all actually jumped on and played a bit of Halo 5 one evening, just because it was one of the few games that we actually all had installed. And we were all commenting on just how stunning it still looks. It's absolutely fantastic without even having a full Series X/S update. You know, it just runs better on the new consoles. Stunning game. But one of the big things from a gameplay perspective, just off what you were saying, is that, yes, it plays much more like a COD game. You can't take anywhere near as much damage. You're constantly getting downed. You've got the whole mechanic that's very much built around having four of you running together and going back and picking your mates up. And, you know, there was something with the original co-op, and it's almost like it was designed around being a single player game, and then you could chuck extra players in, and the whole kind of running back to get to a point where there wasn't people shooting you so your mate could spawn back in again. That's Halo. That's how Halo feels. I don't want to be running around picking my mates up and, you know, having it just didn't feel Halo. You're totally right, man. And if they can nail that again,
you want to feel like a Spartan. You want to feel like a badass.
Yeah.
And I have to say, watching that trailer, it's so fluid, which you didn't feel again on number 5. It just feels kind of like, as you say, more like COD than Halo. He's just flowing. That combat was flowing. He jumped out of the warthog. He went straight in, elbow to the grunt's face, turned around, started, you know. And I think that's the one thing that worried me about the trailer was using the grapple hook. I'm like, this isn't Doom. This isn't what they're doing. But I have to say, if it adds to that whole fluidity of the combat, then I'm in. I'm all paid up. It's fine.
Yeah,
because that trailer is awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were saying about that trailer, when people saying they weren't happy with that trailer, I watched that trailer then, and I've seen it millions of times, and I was having to pull myself away from it to concentrate on what you were saying, Craig, because I'm so engrossed in that trailer for the gameplay, and I don't care what anyone says. That ticked a lot of boxes for me. Yes, I get, and I'm happy it was delayed to make it look prettier. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not complaining, but and it's got to be right because this is such an important franchise for Xbox.
Yeah. But
like that game, if they've changed that gameplay from that trailer, I'm going to be peeved. You know, because that looks amazing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I'm
like
hoping.
So much fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping they've just got stuck in and just polish those graphics up. You know, hopefully they've managed to get ray tracing because they said that was going to not come until after launch, didn't they? But that was when it was launching last year with the launch of the console. So hopefully they've had time to really put it out with its best foot forward. You know, I really, because it deserves it, you know, absolutely does. And again, good on Phil and the executive team for saying, you know what, stick it back a year. And they were so invested in saying, we're going to launch with a Halo. And it was so big around, you know, their messaging around the new Xboxes coming out. We are launching with Halo the first time since the original Xbox. And to turn around and say, it's not ready. We've got to put it back. It's a tough thing to do. And they did totally the right decision. So bravo to that. So it's, I think, something we haven't seen yet is a massive kind of huge next-gen experience in terms of graphics. But there has been a bit of a live stream yesterday that showed some rather pretty graphics. You know, I don't think it's exclusively next-gen. I could be wrong. No. But no, but it's certainly a step forward in that franchise, and a franchise that's always looked pretty darn gorgeous. And that is a lovely Far Cry 6, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah, I watched that video. I have to say, I was blown away by how good it looks. Looks phenomenal. The textures, I mean, I don't think this video is even going to do it credit on the that we've got, because it just looks so next gen graphically. My reservations about the gameplay, don't get me wrong. I've played number 2, number 3 to death. Absolutely massive amount of time. Number 4, I never got past the first hour. I tried a couple of times, and then number 5, I went back and I completed the whole of it. But I felt by this stage it's got to a bit like the whole Assassin's Creed kind of way of building a game, where it's like, go to this area, tick this box, tick this box, tick that box, tick this.
But climb a tower first.
Yeah. Climb a tower to find out where you've got to tick the boxes, and then go to the next area and do the same, and then repeat it over. And to be honest, I got a little bit tired of that.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Oh, he's frozen again.
Yeah, I think we.
Yep. Sorry, but by the time I'd got to the end of the game, I didn't want to face New Dawn. I was like, I don't want to go through all of that again. So I know that the weapon customization was a big deal in New Dawn, which I didn't get to experience, and I think you see quite a lot of that in this trailer as well. So I am very interested, and I do love the look of it. But there is a lot of hesitation in me, because I don't really want to be playing another paint by numbers, whatever you want to call it, type of game. I want an open world that actually has. That's why I'm interested in Dying Light 2, because it is an open world game, but things can be changed and things you interact with make a difference. But if it's just going to an area and ticking boxes,
Yeah, I think for me, this game is, right from, you had Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3, Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5. I don't think any of those games I got longer than 10 hours in. And just got so bored with everything that was going on there. Absolutely. The only one I actually finished of the recent Far Cries was Far Cry Blood Dragon, and that was just because I just wanted to see what crazy one-liner they were coming out with next. Like, Rex Power Cult. Like, it's so good. It was just playing through a Terminator game set in the future. It was wicked.
Is it Michael Biehn, isn't it?
It is. Yeah,
Michael Biehn, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And,
although I have to say, sorry, Craig, that weapon we just saw was freaking awesome. The one that plays the music with it.
Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah.
And it's
music the CDs.
Macarena, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, Macarena.
Yeah. It's it certainly looks like it's trying to do a few more different things.
Macarena,
He's frozen again. I keep feeling bad because I keep talking over Alan, because he's probably talking away there and his camera's frozen.
I stop the minute it's frozen. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, no worries. I lost my train of thought now. Yeah, I think it's going to be a hard pass from me. If I see it cheap, maybe I'd pick it up. But from experience, every time I picked up Far Cry 5, I was like, I know I'm probably not going to like this. And then I kept watching the trailers, like, it looks really cool. And like with this one, there's some cool new type of weapons in it. Plus, it's got all that city area, which we've not really had a city in the Far Cry. I've always been right out in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, it does look quite good. But I just know I'll pick it up and go, this is really fun. 3 hours later, I'm like, I'm getting bored of this now. And then I'll just put it away and never play it again. So
I think, we talked about this earlier, Craig, and I I think I'm at this position with Far Cry where I'm like, I want it to be brilliant. I want it to feel fresh. I don't want it to be exactly what you guys have said, like Assassin's Creed with guns, where I go to an area, climb a tower, click a button, go do all the other little tasks thing. Because it's like I was saying to you when we were talking earlier, Craig, is like Far Cry 5 is the first one I'd finished in years, and that's because I got really sucked in by the whole story. But it got to a point where I really was just ticking boxes to get the story moved on. I wasn't necessarily enjoying what I was doing. Yeah. I was doing it because it was the thing I had to do to get to the bit that I wanted to get to, which was the interesting story. And I will say that the story ends in an incredible, like, it's got one of the best climaxes to a narrative campaign I've ever played. It's really, really cool. What was that?
Like Michael Scott. That's what she said.
I missed that, sorry. Damn it. But no, I genuinely think that the ending of that campaign was like really like blew me away. I was like, wow, this is a really great piece of storytelling. I'm really invested. And then, the game just lacked really. I can't describe it. It's if someone said to me, "Oh, did you play Far Cry?" I'd be like, yeah, I really enjoyed that. But if I think about the campaign in isolation, the story and that, I'll be like, oh, the story was brilliant, man. Why haven't you finished it? And then I think back to playing the campaign. I'm like, oh yeah, you haven't finished it because it's a chore. It's an absolute chore to play that game. Like
It's
the guns
artificially inflated.
Yeah, the guns work proficiently. The shooting is very clean. Like nothing is bad about the game except for the fact that it's repetitive and tedious, and that takes the fun out of the game. And I said to you, Greg, I think Ubisoft have got a formula they won't stray far from.
Yeah,
and it's hurting them, I think now. Like you know, it was great when the first and it's like it's also like I remember when Assassin's Creed first dropped, the first one, and like I played like the obviously the first one, and it was like, okay, I remember the first probably 5 hours of it were like, oh my god, look at this game. It was one of the early Xbox 360 games. It was the first next gen game on that gen, and I was like, this is incredible. Look at this graphics. Oh, you know, like totally blown, because it was so coming from like, you know, the OG Xbox PlayStation 2 to move to 360 place. It was the first one that really felt like we couldn't have done that on old hardware, you know. And for 5 to 10 hours, the game was blowing my mind. I was like, this is incredible. And then I realized that, hold on, I'm just going to another city and doing the same 4 tasks in 4 different locations. And it was sure. Like it really felt like longed out by the end of it. And then Assassin's Creed 2 rolled around, and I passed on Assassin's Creed 2 like initially because I was just like, I don't really want to do that again. It's just, and then it took me a couple of years to play Assassin's Creed 2. I think by the time I played Assassin's Creed 2, they were on Assassin's Creed Revelations or whatever.
Right, yeah, 4th one.
It was the 4th one. I can't remember. It might be the 3rd.
Brotherhood,
anyway.
then Revelations. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Brotherhood and Revelations have come along. Yeah, because it wasn't. Because then there was Assassin's Creed 3 after that, just to confuse everyone, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, that had come out, and I was like, right. Well, I think the really sad thing is, I say I passed on it. I actually bought the limited edition Assassin's Creed 2 in this like mega box thing. It was like, I was like, that looks well cool. Bought it because I had money to spare. Never played it because I was like, and then played it, and I was blown away by the improvements they made. The game was more organic, like it wasn't the repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And it told a better story. I was like, brilliant. And then Assassin's Creed fell into that safe Ubisoft formula for like, what, 10 years? Until we got to Odyssey, wasn't it? Odyssey? No, it wasn't Odyssey. It was Origins. Origins was the reinventing of Assassin's Creed. And now if you look at it, we've had Origins, we've had Odyssey, and we've had Valhalla, which are basically doing the same thing again. It's like, oh, here's your new formula for Assassin's Creed. Then, I think Ubisoft need to learn to be braver with their games in this respect. You know, like
it's that financial safe bet, isn't it? They go, right, we know a game like this sells X amount of units, and they will trend that, and they will see, okay, it's dropped off slightly. Oh, this one dropped off a bit more. Okay, that's too much of a downward trend. Let's mix it up. And I get that. You know, it's a lot of money they have to invest in these games, and I understand it. But yeah, that's why it's nice that I think you've got a lot more smaller, more independent developers that are kind of going out there and taking risks and trying to do things different and actually be able to achieve some really great looking, fantastic mechanic games because they've got access to more and more tools, and smaller teams can produce great stuff. It doesn't take teams of 1,000 to make a great game anymore. You can do it with less people.
And with next gen tool sets that are coming around, those things are it's going to enable better from smaller developers.
12 people making Ascent, as I said last week. 12 people.
Yeah, man. Like, and that's the game I'm most excited for at the moment. Like outside everything, 12 people are making it, and like I'm so pumped for it. And was it Biomutant was like 20 people, wasn't it? Was it 20 people?
Yeah,
It was sub 20 people. It's like it's just crazy. It's like, so you know, I mean, I wasn't excited for Biomutant, but there was a lot of people very excited for Biomutant. And again, it's a very big game that people like. It's done by a small studio. Like I'm excited for this future where we get more studios doing more fun stuff, but Ubisoft need to break out of their mold a little bit with this, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely
Hopefully
think
it does.
so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I will say this. I didn't realise that there's obviously a show you can pet the dog, but there's also an alligator you can pet as a companion.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he's got a gold fang, and I was like, I'm sold. And then I was like, no, don't bite. There's an alligator you can pet.
One thing I wanted to mention, at the end of that video, I just want to check that weapon that I said looked really freaking cool that shot CDs.
Pre-order.
I think that's only a pre-order weapon. That's really soured it for me. Yeah, that little dog with the wheelchair ass and the CD playing gun, pre-order weapons.
Well,
they can ride off.
Yeah. We don't know. To be fair to him at this point, I can't comment if it's a pre-order locked thing, as Alan says. But if it's just a thing where you get early access to it for a pre-order, then I'm less peeved about it. But if you lock something as cool as that by a pre-order bonus, you can shove it.
Yeah.
I think we're in the danger of, because pre-orders are a big thing for companies. If they get lots of pre-orders in, they get that, that early money coming in, they get that early idea of how well it's going to perform. And to be honest, most of the time the pre-order bonuses are useless on games. You might get some piece of armor that you can use for the first 3 levels of your game, and then you never use it again, or you get a hat that looks stupid or something. So it is. They're in danger of kind of going, oh yeah, we'll give really good stuff as pre-order bonuses. It's just going to lock stuff out if you don't. And yeah, I'm totally.
I'm not going to do it now, but I think at some point I did say in the chat this week, we need to talk about pre-orders and how they've outlived their usefulness. To be honest. We don't even need them. In a digital age, there is absolutely no reason why people should be buying pre-orders. Pre-orders are purely there because of a lack of stock of hard.
Don't go in hard on it, Alan. Save it for a good discussion.
Yeah,
that's all.
Because I know you can make something of this, mate.
Yeah,
I know you can make something of this.
Definitely.
I'll shut up now. We'll talk about it.
I think that'll be one we'll probably visit after E3. I reckon that'll be a really good talking point to go on.
Definitely.
Going through talking points, we have one for this week after our roundup of the news, and there was been an announcement and a trailer and a bit of a demonstration of the next gen engine of Unreal 5, which very much by the looks of it lives up to its name. It did look very unreal. It was absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
Just kind of wanted to discuss, is this engine, is this the thing that's going to drive the next generation of graphics coming through? Because it's something else, really. What do you think, Ratley?
So I think I watched Digital Foundry break it down a bit as well, because they're really good, I think, as well for the less. I mean, I understand a lot of the tech, but Digital Foundry are great at like relating it to stuff a bit better, if you know what I mean. I think that's they get less caught up in the tech of it and more in this is what it's going to enable. And they point out some really cool things which I've not spotted, but some of the tech it's mental. It's absolutely mental. So when they first showed this off, apparently a load of developers were tweeting, oh yeah, good luck making worlds look as good as that, because the demo looked so that little vertical slice demo they first showed, the first shooting through the valley on everyone was like, yeah, right, the worlds are never going to look that good. And Epic with the Unreal Engine just went, here's the developer tools for it, and we made this world in 30 minutes, and it's come again. And it's 30 minutes to make this world. It's looks like a photograph of a desert canyon. You what? It's absolutely mind blowing. The way they've broken these tools down for developers. It's got the DLSS equivalent baked into the engine. It's just and people were saying that enables stuff that it's better in ways that DLSS isn't, and DLSS is better in ways that this isn't. But you can potentially combine, if you can combine those two forces, holy mother of God, do you know what I mean? It's we'll be running everything at 720p, and then it'll be upscaled to 8K, flawlessly. Do you know what I mean? But the nanite particle system it's I can't. It's crazy good. Crazy good. The stuff that's baked into this engine at an engine level, the ray tracing and all that kind of stuff. Whilst yes, there are more advanced versions of it in Nvidia's hardcore specific version. That's great, but having it all at engine level and having this native DLSS equivalent
and the accessibility of it.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, just wow. I mean, it's gonna. There is no question. The first Unreal Engine 5 games are gonna look amazing.
Yeah.
Whether other stuff has caught up by that point and can do this as well is the question mark. But we've seen. I mean, on the Xbox alone, one of the studios I'm most excited for working with this because they've always delivered. It's just the most stellar visuals is the Coalition. The next Gears game is going to be built on Unreal Engine 5. You know what I mean? And it's not like Hivebusters looks. It's like you can say, oh, Hivebusters looks a bit shonky on Unreal Engine 4. Hivebusters is stunning, right? So put that on Unreal Engine 5. Oh my God, that's going to look good. Yeah. So I'm super excited. You can't tell. This as a piece of tech is such a leap forward. It's such a day and night from where we are to where we're going.
I think that just to touch on something you said before about the vertical slice that they showed again, that PS5 one of her flying through the canyon and people going yeah whatever. I can see why they got there, because if you remember Unreal 4, they had it was like a snowy topped mountain, and then coming through into this big throne room, and this fire monster stands up, and this lava and particles, and you're like, oh, wow. And I don't think we're only maybe just up to what they were saying there, and that was supposed supposed to be kind of last generation, and it took us ages to get anywhere near what they're doing with that. But for them to turn around and actually go, here you go, this is it working. This is, do you know what I mean? This is.
Well, you can download and use it now, can't you?
Exactly.
You can run it now.
Yeah. And the fact that it's free for anybody to use, or when to have a go with. They only monetize it if you start making money from the game you produce with it, don't they? Which is really, really exciting. What's your thoughts, Alan?
I have one thought on this and one thought alone, and I don't want to appear like I'm down on it, but I'm actually very, very excited inside because Arc 2 is using the Unreal 5 engine.
It's all that matters. It's all that matters.
Raptors, T-Rexes, Vin Diesel, family.
Yeah.
All with that beautiful graphics. Yeah. I am so excited.
That's the big problem with Ark, and I'm not dissing it. I know you love it. The big problem with Ark is the engine. It's what they're doing with it. With the ability to craft things and create things, and the scope of it and stuff is great. But it just, I think it's one of those games where it's almost from a screenshot it looks nice. But in motion, it looks dreadful, even when it's really... It's the way that the reflections work and the shadows work and the motion. It's just... The engine just isn't up to scratch for what they're trying to do, almost. It's like they've kind of...
fairness...
Yeah, go on.
In fairness, I had just downloaded it for the PC as well, and I was quite surprised that some of the graphical issues that are with the water and stuff, I was quite surprised they were still in it. I thought that was an Xbox issue, but it isn't. It's an engine issue. But in fairness... bearing in mind that when this game first came out on beta or whatever you want to call it, alpha even, 5 or 6 years ago, it was a tiny team that started with this, and they built this game from a very basic engine. The engine was fundamentally flawed from the get-go because they didn't have the time and the resources, and they built and built and built on that. Now, Arc 2, they have the money, the development team, and the time.
You're literally saying the exact point I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. It's the engine was flawed from the beginning. It wasn't up to scratch because, going back to it's a small team. But a small team at that time, if they had access to Unreal Engine 5... Imagine what that Arc 1 would be like now if they had access to... I'm not saying the equivalent, but, yeah, if they had access to those types of tools in that generation of engine, we'd be in a totally different place.
I am going to love staring at every single pixel of the trees as I chop down hundreds of trees to build my epic wooden palace. I am going to be so happy. There'll be
epic
a garage.
Wooden palace.
Yeah, and there will be a garage for Vin Diesel's car. Yeah, so we're going to start a weird Vin Diesel family.
Pre-order bonus. There'll be a stone and wooden version of that car from Fast and the Furious with a big engine out the front.
Like the Flintstones, where you have to run.
I was going to say exactly that. It's got no floor, so you can.
Oh, absolutely fantastic! Cool.
Excited for that Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
So
well, I think we're all pumped for Unreal 5.
It blew my mind though. Genuinely blew my mind. There was something I was quite surprised at though. One thing that Digital Foundry picked up on, which I was really surprised at, is that the ray tracing in the engine can't handle a mirrored surface. There's no way it can do it. And I was like, of all the things it can't do a perfect mirrored surface, like a shiny, ray trace reflection on it. It's bizarre. I was like, okay, it's something to do with the way ray tracing works. That's what I think. I think that's what I was saying. But yeah, so when they dropped the monolith in on the video, it's not like a really shiny monolith. It's sort of it's a dulled metal. Regardless, everything else about that engine was just bonkers, absolutely bonkers, and you know, amazing.
I don't know from a technical perspective, but maybe it's a case of if the engine can handle a certain degree of that ray tracing. If you've then got a ray tracing capable graphics processor, it's less for that to have to deal with, so that can concentrate potentially on the
I don't know enough about how they handled tasks and stuff within these graphics cards, but I'm sure these developers who are far smarter than we are will work some voodoo and we'll get these amazing products.
Yeah, quality stuff.
Excited.
Right, cool. On to now. The quiz. This is the quiz. This is the quiz. This is the quiz. So, this week, we have a quiz from Mr. Phil. I haven't read this yet. I've literally about 2 minutes just opened the email with the
God.
questions in. So, by the looks of it,
proofread this.
I know. I just thought it'd be more exciting to see what he's come up with this time. He's not got a great track record, let's say. And he did say to me, he goes, look, I'm not very good at doing it.
If it's emotions, I'm out.
You know, mate, funny.
I mean, fundamentally, that isn't a quiz, but that's beside the point.
But Phil may come up with that. But anyway, he did say... No.
His next one's going to be Guess Who, isn't it? That's what he's
Yeah. Yeah, he did say to me, in fairness, he said, look, he says, I ain't very good at doing quizzes. Do you want to do it? I said, look, well, I mean, I can do it. But he goes, I'll do it. I'll give it a go, but just change it if it's no good. And I didn't have a chance to look at it. So we'll see how we go. Right.
Good luck,
It
Phil.
looks like... now, do you want to do buzzers, like think of one, or do you just want to shout the answer out? It's up to you.
Given Alan's technical issues, shall we just shout out answers, or
Yeah.
you know?
I think
Sounds
that
good.
would be better, because if we're going to do buzzers, there's every chance just as the question ends, I go,
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
I mean, that might still
maybe
happen,
stick
to
your
be
hand
fair.
up as well when you do it. And I'll
Yeah,
show
That
you,
might
yeah.
happen, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, right. Question number 1. How many versions of Unreal Engine have currently been released?
Go on, Alan.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was waiting to listen out as well. I thought we were doing hand and shout. Sorry, Alan, go for it, mate.
Me!
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to fall straight into the trap here, because I really don't know, and I'm going to go 4.
Correct. There has been 4, mate. Well done. Nice.
Because technically, Unreal Engine 5 hasn't been released.
Yes, exactly. I think he was doing that as a little cheeky, make sure you're awake. Cool, good stuff. Right, next question. What year was the first Unreal Engine game released?
Me!
Alan.
Now, I remember that. Do you remember the Unreal game?
Yeah.
That was
I'll tell you
freaking
what.
awesome.
Okay, if anyone, I'll give you a bonus point, because he's put down what the very first Unreal Engine game was. And it's not what you think it was.
No, I don't know what the first game was, but I remember the game Unreal, which then led on to Unreal Tournament, which again was awesome.
Big thing with Unreal, the game, I remember you walked outside, and that was, you never had like big outside environments before in games. It was like
There was
cliffs and
those
that.
big
Yeah.
green
weird
with double
aliens.
blades.
Yeah,
Double
there was
blade
the weird
thing.
aliens that kind of sat there and like meditating with 4 arms.
Yeah.
It was such a good game. Such a game. I'm
Right.
going to go with 9. Sorry, what?
Go on, go for it, go on.
I'm going to go with 1981.
1981. What I was going to say was, what we'll do is, on some of these questions, maybe should we do like a closest wins with it, shall we?
Yeah.
Right. Ratley, go on, give us your answer on it.
1997.
That's going to go to Ratley, that one. That was 1998 was the first.
wow.
90, yes. And the game was Star Trek The Next Generation Klingon Honor Guard, apparently.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which I never played. Which
I never would have got that in a million years.
No. So, cool. Right. The next question. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist was released in 2013. What version of Unreal Engine did it use? First one. Whoever goes first.
Me.
Alan.
I'm going to go with Unreal Engine 2.
Is the right answer, my friend.
That's how you
Fantastic.
nailed that.
Well done. Well done. Right. Question number 4. And by this answer, we're going to say this will be a closest to number on this one. So how many games have been released on Unreal Engine 3?
How many games?
Yes, and it's closest. I'm going to go you first, Chris.
I'm so glad he went to you first.
I mean, this number could be astronomical, given indies and stuff like that.
Yeah, could be.
Unreal Engine 3, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 750.
750.
I think it's way, way more than that, but I'm just going to go 700.
Okay, so we're going closest win. So, Alan, this is just Unreal Engine 3.
I'm sitting back deliberately because I don't want anybody to think
That he's frozen like he has right now.
Now he's googling it. It's frozen. He's like, quick.
Well, I'm frozen. Quick, Google it.
Yeah. So that people don't think that I'm doing any funny business. Okay.
Okay.
Mate, I'm sitting in front of a laptop. I could easily
But
cheat. If
I
wanted to.
am totally gonna pull a total dick move here and say 751.
You bastard.
751. That's a really out of order thing to do, Alan. And we all know that it never pays off to be a douche because it was 263. Oh, quality stuff.
I know.
Right.
I thought it was going to be thousands of games. Truthfully,
That was a super bluff there, Chris. Brilliant. No, but it's clearly
No, mate, honestly, I can't believe there's only 263 games on Unreal Engine 3. Genuinely cannot believe that.
There potentially was a shorter gap between 2 and 4 than you realise, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. So, right, next question. This will be a first answer for answer situation, not a closest to. So, XCOM Chimera Squad launched last year on Windows. Which version of Unreal Engine did it use?
Me.
Ratley.
Unreal Engine 3.
Correct, my friend. It was Unreal Engine 3. Well done. Awesome. Okay, so the next, there's a real theme to this.
Phil's doing here. He's trying to catch us out. Because you'd go, oh, well, it's 4, obviously, but of course the original XCOM game came out in 3, so it has to import into that. So they still use 3 for it. He's a sneaky little lad. He is.
Right. Next one is going to be a first come, first serve answer again, not a closest to. So Mass Effect 1, 2 and 3 were all developed on Unreal Engine. Which version of Unreal was used? That's Chris first.
It's Unreal Engine 3, I believe.
It most certainly is Unreal Engine 3. Well done, mate. Okay, next question is going to be a closest to, and it's going to be Alan guessing first this time round. So Epic, the developers of Unreal Engine, were given a valuation in November of 2018. How much were they valued at? And that was in 2018. Go on, Alan.
I have absolutely diddly squat idea on this. I'm just going to throw a number out there.
As well, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
No, Fortnite was out then, wasn't it?
Fortnite's been out since.
When was it? Sorry, 2018.
2018, yeah. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Possibly.
Oh,
but it might have been before it was massive, to be fair.
Yeah, it might have been they were just releasing it.
I'm going to say.
He's going to freeze.
The suspense.
Did you get that?
No.
Well, I've said it. I'm not repeating myself.
Go on.
750 million.
750 million from Alan. Okay, Ratley, what is your guess, my friend? Is it going to be 751 million?
Let's make it interesting. Let's go for 750. No, sorry.
750.
And he's frozen again. Yeah, go on, Ratley. What's your guess?
I'm going to say, let's say they were valued at 2.4 billion.
2.4 billion. Oh, look, he's frozen, but he's moving a little bit.
Police squad. The police race.
I get slotted any minute now.
So, yeah, I can't, to be honest, I couldn't even hear what you said there, Chris, from what was going on, but all I heard was you said billion, so you're definitely right. It was 15 billion they were valued at.
I was well low. I said 2.4 and it was like I was well low.
If they were worth 15 billion before Fortnite got massive, they've got a few pennies now, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think they're short of a bob or two, let's put it that way.
No. I think they're just, aren't they now, they've just submitted plans to turn an old shopping mall into their headquarters, haven't they? The entire shopping mall. That's a pretty big headquarters.
That's Flash.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
Flash.
mate, exactly.
Well,
yeah.
If you think about it, that Unreal Engine is like, it powers, it's also moving away from just powering video games. They're doing like special effects work on it because of the character creator now.
Mandalorian.
They're all
all
driving around in gold Bentleys.
Yeah. Cool. Right. So the next question we have is it's going to be a closest to again. So Fortnite uses Unreal Engine 4 for its game engine. During the Apple versus Epic trial, it came out that Fortnite had made $X during... had made a certain amount of dollars during 2018 and 2019, sorry. It's just the way he's written it. Sorry. Had made X amount of dollars during 2018 and 2019. How much did it make between 2018 and 2019, which is for the Fortnite?
It's the closest to it.
What make?
Closest. So let me go through it again because I didn't read it properly because it was the first time I've read the question. So Fortnite uses Unreal 4 for its game engine. During the Apple versus Epic trial, it came out that Fortnite had made X amount of dollars during 2018 and 2019. How much did it make?
And I mean, let's keep in mind that's the start of Fortnite as well, isn't it? That's when it started to hit its stride.
Yeah. So this is you first to guess then, Chris, because Alan guessed first on the last one.
Ooh. $3 billion.
We've got $3 billion from Mr.
Because that thing is basically like a money factory.
Yeah. And Alan, what is your guess, my friend?
I just think about Fortnite, and I just remember when it first came out and it's being advertised and it had all the monsters and everything and it was almost like a tower game. I was like, that looks really fun. Let's play that. I wouldn't go near it with a barge pole now. It's just like,
do you know what? The Save the World is really fun.
I really like that game.
I really like Save the World. I hate the Battle Royale, but I love.
Yeah. I hate the Battle Royale. I'm so off Battle Royale these days. Anyway, that's moving on.
Yeah.
I've got no idea. I'm going to go with $2.5 billion.
$2.5 billion from Alan. So the answer was, and I've been instructed to say it like Dr. Evil, $9 billion. So that's a win for Ratley on that one. So there we go. So the next we have, to be honest, it's a tiebreaker. Should we just do it for fun? Because let's be honest, you haven't won, Alan. Oh, he's frozen again. He's really having trouble.
You've stunned him into complete shock. He can't move.
So, right. Should we do? Let's do the tiebreaker. Why not? Unreal Engine 3 has had games released on it between 2006 and 2020. Who can name the most Unreal Engine 3 games? Do you want to do that or not? I don't think we did. No, let's not do that. That could take ages.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. There you go. Well done, Chris. You got an extra point.
With my internet connection at the moment, that's going to take me about half an hour to do. So I
hold on. Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, maybe? Or Gears of War 2 and 3, I reckon, might be Unreal Engine 3.
He's left a wiki list. I'm not even going to look at it. That sounds like way too much work. And we're at an hour and a half already. Thank you for the effort, Phil, if you watch this. But yeah, we're going to stick what it is. So the scores on that one.
Question is mental. Phil, seriously, mental.
That's a beast. The scores on that one, Ratley on 6 points and Alan on 2 points. So well done, Mr. Ratley. Good on you. Well done, sir. So that pretty much leads us to the end of the show. So thanks very much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you want to see more of these, please, like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter. We do these every week. Put them up on a Saturday/Sunday, depending on how busy I am, to get them uploaded. This one, of course, is live, so it's up straight away, which is great. So all that really leaves is a bye from Alan. Frozen from Alan. And a bye from Chris.
Bye!
And a bye from me. See you all next week.
Take it easy.